For 30 years, the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines has been at the forefront of the Philippine supply chain, advocating for policies, initiatives, and practices benefiting the sector. With the help of stakeholders in the public and private sectors, communicating the movements, trends, and developments affecting the profession through regular events online and offline, and educating supply chain professionals from the boardroom to the warehouse floor. For 30 years, the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines has recognized that a strong supply chain plays a role in building a competitive and strong economy and ensuring higher standards of life for everyone. This is why, for the past 30 years, the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines has worked tirelessly across the country and around the world towards a world-class Philippine supply chain powered by a capable supply chain sector, supported by a responsive regulation, and led by a culture of collaboration. And we will continue to connect, engage, and move now and into the future. We are the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines.
Makibahagi sa pagpapanatili ng maayos na supply chain at logistics ngayong panahon ng community quarantine dulot ng COVID-19. Pumunta sa iatfscan.net o sa Google Play Store, i-download ang Scan Incident Reporting app sa inyong cellphone at pagrehistro. Ang Scan Incident Reporting app ay isang mobile app na maaaring gamitin ng sinumang nasa transport services, public servants mula sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, mga manggagawa na naglalakbay papunta at pauwi mula sa trabaho, mga kumpanya na gumagawa o nagbebenta ng essential goods and services tulad ng pagkain at gamot, o mga miyembro ng industry associations tulad ng SCMAP, PhilExport, PCCI at Export Development Council. Ginagamit ang Scan Incident Reporting app sa pag-report ng mga issue o sitwasyon na nakakaabala sa daloy ng supply chain at logistics sa anumang bahagi ng bansa. Halimbawa ng mga issue ay pagkuha ng quarantine pass, pagkalito sa bagong regulasyon o ordinansya, pagtawid sa quarantine control points, sinarang mga kalsada, mahabang pila ng mga sasakyan, aksidente sa daan, o anomalya sa presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin. Ang Scan Incident Reporting app ay sumusunod sa Data Privacy Act at sinisiguro na ang bawat report ay pinapanatiling safe and secure sa isang database na ma-access lamang ng kinauukulang tao at sangay ng gobyerno. Ang inyong mga incident reports ay agarang maipapakita sa Scan Dashboard na gagabay naman sa NTF COVID Operations Center sa pagmonitor, pagtugon o pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga LGUs ukol sa mga isinumiteng issue o sitwasyon. Kaya tayo na at magkaisa upang mapanatiling maayos ang daloy na supply chain at logistics sa ating bansa gamit ang Scan Incident Reporting app.
Habang nakatigil ang mundo, habang ligtas tayo sa ating mga tahanan, may mga pumiling manatili sa harap ng digmaan. Laban sa COVID-19. Para sa inyong patuloy na nagpapatakbo sa makina ng bansa. Para sa inyong laging nakaabang sa ating mga daungan at paliparan. para sa inyong nagtatawid ng aming mga pangangailangan sa kalsada, karagatan, at himpapawid. Para sa inyong mga nagbabantay sa mga warehouse at terminal. Para sa inyong mga nakikipagsapalaran sa daan. Para sa inyong naghahatid sa amin ng malasakit at kabayanihan. Kayong mga frontliners sa logistics at supply chain. Kakibat kayo ng mga doktor, nurse, sundalo at pulis. Patid namin ang mga sakripisyo at pagtitiis. Kasama ang buong sambayanan, kaming lahat ay nagbibigay pugay at puso papasalamat sa pagharap ninyo sa tiyak na pahamak para sa bayan. Mabuhay kayo, mga bayani ng bayan.
Good day to everyone watching us live through Zoom and Facebook. So great to see all of you today. The Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines welcomes you to the second edition of SCMAP Live. Today, we will focus on riding the next e-commerce wave. I am Ana Rose Ochoa, Program Director for SCMAP, and your host for this afternoon. SCMAP Live is our series of free online events where we explore what the so-called new normal means for us in the supply chain industry and how we can best continue to engage, connect, and learn with our members, fellow practitioners, and those with an interest in what we do through relevant supply chain topics. We're already a little over 4 months into the community quarantine imposed across the Philippines, and while conditions are not yet ideal, I'm sure that you have adjusted, adapted to the situation, and are looking to pursue new opportunities to better serve our customers. Thus, this month's SCMAP Live will focus on e-commerce, which has seen a new boom despite the restrictions in its movement. But before that, let's hear from the President of the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines, the Supply Chain Director of Rustan Supercenters Inc., Ms. Christine Pardiñas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm live. Okay, so I'm sure all of you are raring to hear from Dennis and Steve, but indulge me in a few minutes of this time to share again who we are in SCMAP. Next slide. Okay, so we welcome everyone, all the members, all the non-members as well. So for the non-members, I would like to introduce to you who SCMAP is. So SCMAP is the Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines. It's the premier association of the supply chain industry in the Philippines that has the three pillars to support us as far as doing our work in the industry is concerned. So we advocate, we communicate, we educate. We advocate policy reforms on how to improve the supply chain competitiveness in the country. We communicate with our members as well as non-members, continuously share new ideas, the trends in logistics, in supply chain, and other best practices to make the supply chain community in the Philippines a stronger one. And lastly, education. We continuously share with our members to pursue the relevance of the supply chain in the nation building through further education. So we have different activities to support these three pillars. We have the different committees, the research and policy, as far as advocacy is concerned. Our membership team continuously take care of our members, work hand in hand with our academe and training for all these programs, and continuous education. Together with our events committee who handle these webinars in this time without the physical meetings or conferences that we usually have. And of course, we have the finance to take care of the money matters. So to help us with all of these activities, we have been advocating the Connect, Engage, Move framework in order to guide us with all our activities. This had been our battle cry for the past 2 to 3 years, as far back as when Nes Felicio of Unilab was our president. Next slide, please. Yes. So we started the year with a bang. This is usually our first activity for the year. It's the supply chain outlook. It's usually held every January or February. So last February, we had none other than ASEC, Mary Jean Pacheco of DTI, Jojo Malolos of JG Summit Data Analytics Ventures, Inc., and our very own Ronnie Balbiran, the friend of SCMAP, to talk about the economic outlook and how can supply chain best take advantage of the rise of the digital economy. It's all about e-commerce, it's about digital. So that's actually the theme for this afternoon. Next. Okay, so we had our SCMAP Live last month, and that was actually the first SCMAP Live that we had to prepare for the new normal and supply chain. And we tackled about how we can handle the capacity, the sudden boom in the logistics requirements, and how our people should be able to deal with all this increase in demand while taking care of their health and safety. Next. Okay, so we had these programs on our 3 pillars: advocate, communicate, educate. We have continuously worked with other logistics service providers. We have our group, our team, the LSPH team. So these are the other associations that work towards sustaining the logistics challenges in our country amid these pandemics. We have been working with EDC. This is where the network hub has came up with a scan app. So I'll talk more of that later. I have a slide, I think, later. And then communicate. Nico has been very, very active in giving us updates through the different channels, the SCMAP perspective, and then port calls has been, we have been giving contributions to port calls as far as updates in the industry, the supply chain industry is concerned. And of course, during the pandemic, we have been very, very busy and active working with the IATF as far as any concern in logistics is concerned, while not forgetting actually our activities to further the education of supply chain and logistics in the country, together with other associations and government agencies like TESTA, DTI, the Mentor Me program, and together with other educational institutions like LaSalle. Next. Yes, so we have scmap.org. You can visit our website there. In order for you to be informed and for all of us to keep supply chain moving. So for Connect, we have set up the SCMAP community through Viber. We give you daily updates on what's in, what's out, what's the update on the latest level of community quarantine, where checkpoints are. It's live actually, so everybody can contribute there. So far, it has been very, very useful for all SCMAP members. We have continuously engaged up to now. I mentioned IATF in order to further our advocacies in SCMAP. And of course, on the MOVE side, I've mentioned SCAN and other events like this. So for the SCAN, next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the dashboard and incident reporter app. I hope some of you have already downloaded this. It was first launched in, no, it was not yet in iOS, no, but now it's in iOS already. Carlo updated that to us. So I hope you still continuously use this. You can report any challenges or issues for easy access of the information by the government in order for the provision of the solutions. Next. Yes, so everybody's busy. We have been interviewed by different news channels, and yeah, Carla is there, I'm there, Ness is there, and just early part of June, we hosted the first SCAN Networks e-forum where Honorable Carlo Nograles of the IATF was one of the speakers there. So yeah, everybody's busy, and all the members have been informed about all of these things that are happening with us. Next. Last month also was the SCMAP Live that I shared with you a while ago, wherein we were like preparing for going back in our workplace. So we invited Dr. Dance of the UP College of Medicine, our very own Dennis Levido, one of the BOD members from Nestle, and Mr. Marvis of Fast Logistics to share with us their experiences, their inputs, what have been their what have they done and what have they been doing in their company in order to keep the employees healthy and safety as well. It was a very well attended session. You can watch it again if you missed it on SCMAP's YouTube channel or at scmap.org. Next. All right, so I'm very excited. So this is the first time that you'll be seeing this. We still continue our vision to share with everyone. We were really hoping to hold this conference physically at the usual venue at the Shangri-La EDSA. However, we already accepted the fact that for this year, it will be live. So it will be a 3-day session. It's an extraordinary times called for extraordinary vision. That's the theme that we will be adopting for this year because it's extraordinary times. As it is now, it's raining very hard outside. We have COVID around the corner. So yes, we still have our vision to further the supply chain industry in the country. So for this year, next slide, there will be 3 days. So we are still in the process of completing all the details, but it will be 3 consecutive weeks, 3 to 4 hours. It will be in October 8, October 15, and October 22. The theme for each day will be restart, rethink, and reconnect. So basically, the first day will be understanding our new realities. What is this all about? What do we need to do? Do we still need to spend on all the measures that we are providing our employees? Do we still need to do rapid testing? So we need to rethink as well as far as the supply chain processes are concerned in order to keep the process efficient. And of course, looking ahead, what do we need to identify? What do we need to identify? What things to focus on? What are the important things in order to for the business to survive. So this is an official invitation for everyone. Please keep your calendars open on those dates, and we'll be posting more details in scmap.org for more information. All right, next. For today, yeah, Nico said that he just had something delivered to him. Me too. I received something from LBC or no? It's there. I haven't opened it yet. E-commerce. So me, I was not very fond of online shopping. You know, I'm from Robinsons. So we go to the stores, we shop there. Whatever we need, we can always get from our own stores. But then again, sometimes we need to be at home. So it's imperative. It's not an excuse. Sometimes you want food delivered right on your door. So e-commerce has actually boomed. Whether we like it or not, we need to be at home to be safe. So for today, we will be tackling the e-commerce topic. Next slide. I just found this very interesting statistics on the web. So this is information on the frequency of online purchases among consumers during the pandemic. And yeah, I'm actually one of those who contributed very high on several times a month. Before the pandemic, I wasn't even buying something from the web. It's like once every quarter. I'm not really an online customer before, but now probably once a week at least. So I'm very guilty on that. So it's here, so we need to adopt, which is why next for today, I'm very happy to introduce to you our two speakers for today, Mr. Steve C. of Great Deals and Mr. Dennis Yaw of the Go Group, to talk about e-commerce and riding the wave, how we can actually adopt in supply chain and take advantage of this new norm and turn challenges into opportunities. So without further ado, I give to you Mr. I think it's Dennis who will talk first. So thank you very much. Enjoy the whole afternoon. Let's keep supply chain moving. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine, for your updates on the Supply Chain Management Association of Philippine activities. And we're looking forward to our big event in October. So before we proceed, I would like to remind our participants via Zoom that you can raise your questions throughout the afternoon by using the Q&A function and your Zoom app. We will also have an open forum after our two speakers have presented. So if you want to ask questions through audio or video, you may raise your hand and through the app, and we will get in touch with you as soon as we can. Okay. As we mentioned earlier, this month, SCMAP Live will focus on e-commerce. Today, in this time of the new normal, brands are beginning to notice the importance of establishing their online presence, especially with social media savvy Filipinos. The sector has been on the rise in the past few years, fueled by the adoption of mobile technologies and increased comfort with doing business online, whether it is by shopping through websites like Lazada and Shopee, or by using cashless payment systems such as GCash and PayMaya. So the government estimates that by the end of this year, e-commerce will contribute 25% to the country's gross domestic product. Well, that certainly was accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. And as businesses were forced to close shop and we had to observe social distancing, many of us tuned to e-commerce to buy products and services essential to our lives, as well as to keep our animal spirit going. We bought our groceries and household essentials online. We had our cravings satisfied through delivery services such as Grab and Foodpanda. We stocked up on supplies, we paid our bills online, and some of us even decided to start businesses during the past 2 months to provide an additional source of income to our household. We have looked at the growth of e-commerce in the past few years. One of our general membership meetings last 2018 mapped the last mile. During the event, online retailers posed a challenge to logistics providers. We want to work with you, but you have to be ready to handle our volume. So earlier this year, we looked at the digital economy for our supply chain outlook event, whereby we had DTI Assistant Secretary Mary Jean Pacheco discuss government's plans to further bolster e-commerce growth, efforts which include increasing customer trust in digital platforms, enhancing consumer protection, and revising regulations that impact the movement of products, capital, and information digitally as well as physically. So that brings us to today's SCMAP Live, where our speakers will help us unpack e-commerce yet again, now that it's going to be part of our lives even more in the years and the months and the years to come. There are different aspects of e-commerce that present challenges, from selling, distribution, payment, delivery, and logistics, among others. How do we turn these challenges into opportunities for us to better serve our customers and end users? So our first speaker for this afternoon is Mr. Steve C., the founder and chief executive officer of Great Deals E-Commerce Corporation, the country's leading e-distributor. Great Deal presents the full solution for taking brands to the economic realm. He was recently inducted in Tech in Asia's list of the 50 rising startups in Southeast Asia. He also co-founded Shoppertainment Live Incorporated, Zagana, and Scott Quad, which collectively provide Filipino businesses the means to jump into the e-commerce pool. He is also an Alibaba Business School e-Founder Fellow and was voted into the top 100 Filipinos to follow on LinkedIn for inspiration and learning by marketing in Asia. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our resource speaker, Mr. Steve C.
Thank you, Rose. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Christine, for the invite. And Henrik, thank you for this invitation. Really a pleasure to meet all of the people from SCMAP for this afternoon. So I'll be sharing to you, I'll share my screen regarding e-commerce. Clear naman na yung, have you seen my screen? No? So I'll give you a first 2 minutes. I'll be sharing what our company does so that at least the people would have a little bit of background of what does Great Deals really do.
Living in the digital age, everything is constantly evolving. From physically shopping for clothes before, you can now buy your own just by clicking add to cart. E-commerce is the latest avenue for brands to reach their market faster. That's why Great Deals is here, to be with you every step of the way. Great Deals is the total e-commerce solutions provider. We collect, store, and analyze data to provide complete e-commerce solutions for our clients to achieve optimum brand awareness. Our services start with our creative team, who provides striking images to engage consumers. These outputs are put together in the official online stores created by our account managers, who not only oversee marketplace operations, but also execute digital campaigns that drive traffic and increase sales. To ensure brand loyalty, our online ambassadors offer shopping assistance and enhance the customer's experience.
As experts in this industry, we can assure our clients that their products are carefully housed in our environmentally controlled warehouses.
We have also invested in an automated warehouse management system for fast and efficient fulfillment and shipment.
This innovation also allows us to manage multiple brands swiftly and to maximize our inventory through integration across multiple online marketplaces and web stores.
We believe that it takes the right partner with the right mindset and experience to take on this emerging channel. And we see that Great Deals is the right partner for us to take our brands to new heights.
The knowledge that they are the experts in this industry allowed us to trust them with the complexities of the operation.
As a leading e-distributor in the Philippines, we bridge brands and retailers to the online market in the best possible way.
So currently, we handle around 300 brands with the likes of Nestle, Unilever, Star Wars, Reebok, New Balance, Crocs, Ipanema. So let me go to the sharing proper. As I've said, e-commerce is a sunrise industry of today's generation. And something really happened during the pandemic. The inflection point of e-commerce in the Philippines happened because of this lockdown. So what happened with the consumer behavior of Filipinos towards e-commerce? Before, ang e-commerce para online shopping, katulad ni Ma'am Christine, di ba? It's just part of, a little bit of a habit. But di ba, there's a saying, it takes 21 days to create a habit. But if you're locked up in your home for 3 months, it creates a lifestyle. So e-commerce is the new retail. Majority of companies are adapting to the new normal by digitalizing business and opening e-commerce channel. So that's the main thing that happened for the last 3 months because of COVID and because of our pandemic crisis. Two other consumer behavior for Filipinos is Filipinos' favorite time to make online transactions is during lunch break. Most of the time, but right now, baka almost every time because we're always working from home. So, lalong lumaki ang ating behavior. We have a lot of change behavior. And then another thing is 80% of online transactions are paid through cash on delivery pa rin. Even though we have increased in our online payments during this panic using GCash, GrabPay, PayMaya, and all of the other digital wallet, still it's 80% cash on delivery. Another thing that consumer behavior is what we call home economy. So what's we call home economy? Because of this pandemic, I believe in the next 18 to 24 months, we will have what we call everything will revolve around the home. So home economy, because it's online. People are, these are the 4 major things that happen during the home economy mindset of our consumer behavior. Customers are more health and hygienic conscious. Kaya yung mga vitamins natin, yung mga cleaning products are very in demand right now. People desire to stay at home. They don't want to go out. They focus on quality and safety, and there's a tighter budget. So for businesses that are into the home economy, or you want to pivot to the home economy, definitely e-commerce and the products that relates to the home economy will continue to be growing in an accelerated space. So what are the trends and future plans for e-commerce? So very important as we are living in an instant messaging world, chat support is vital. We have seen in our company that the conversion rate of people getting chat response rate of people buying is around 3 to 5% more than 3 times more than if you don't have a chat support. And in the future, there will be more and more chatbot, automated chat support response. Next time, baka jeje mo na rin, Taglish na rin ang salita ng mga chatbot as we continue to have AIs in the future. And then, of course, social commerce. As we have seen during these last 3 months, our Viber community, lahat ng pwedeng ibenta sa Viber, nangyari na. For social media, Facebook. So social commerce has been on the rise also because this is the trend of e-commerce. And one of the future trends is live streaming. I think most of you, right? Even today, we're doing a live streaming event, a webinar. So live streaming services, live streaming is really a future trend. People are buying online because they can have more engagement with the host. And I'll be sharing to you a video of what's live streaming all about. Yan. So right now, you can see a lot of people doing live streaming activities in Facebook, in Lazada, in Shopee, so even in TikTok, Kumu. Those are some of the different platforms that you can do live streaming. And it's a very effective way of reaching your customers. Next is image and voice search, no? Or what we call, and the future would be live image recognition. Let me share to you another video to fully see the trend of e-commerce here.
So we're here at day one of Google I/O, checking out new features for Google Lens. It's an AR and AI platform for the company. And it's basically built into Google Assistant, and now it's built right into the smartphone's camera. So Google first introduced Google Lens last year, and basically at the time, it was a way to look through the camera's viewfinder and identify objects in photos. Now Lens is much more sophisticated. It uses all of Google's understanding of natural language processing and object recognition, image recognition. It combines it into one big platform so that the smartphone can see and understand the world around it, and it can parse human language. Let's try this one. Right, there it goes. It pulled up shopping results from Macy's, from QVC. So it understands what this item of clothing is, and it then prompts you to buy it online.
So, ang ganda, di ba? Next time, when you go out, you see a nice dress or nice shoes, you just take a photo of it, and then click it, and then you'll see where you can buy it, either sa mga shopping platform or web stores. And then next is the e-commerce future is augmented reality. Or this one is already available in the Philippines. You can look at L'Oreal, Maybelline, in either Lazada and Shopee, and you can see the augmented reality. Let me share to you a video again of what I'm talking about.
Where are the Pokemon? Where are they all? Well, thanks to Pokemon Go, 2016 was the year the world started paying attention to augmented reality. So how is AR going to affect the marketing world? Well, the biggest impact is going to be seen in e-commerce, because people are going to be able to try things out in the comfort of their own home. And that's going to remove a lot of the barriers and friction to purchasing online. That's powerful.
And then, of course, as part of the supply chain, right now the trend is same-day delivery, and hopefully dito sa Pilipinas, we'll have drone delivery also in the future. Let me share to you another video. And then there's what we call rural e-commerce. So during the pandemic, I think one of the most challenges, struggle natin or pain point is how do I buy sa palengke without getting COVID? And we have found a solution through rural e-commerce. We have brought a platform that's what we call Zagana that does farm to table. No, you can order your vegetables online and delivered in your doorsteps within Metro Manila in just 30 minutes. Let me share to you a video of what I'm talking about.
Most the story starts in the kitchen. The tale begins with the farmers who wake up early to till the land from dawn to dusk to bring food to our table. For the farmers in Cordillera, farming is one of their first memories as children, and they grow old working their lands.
16 years old, talagang ayun ang ginagawa namin lahat dito sa bundok.
At a young age, they learn how to sew, living day by day, always hoping for a bountiful harvest.
Kung magtanong kami at sa harvestin namin, yung kung pitasin namin ay yung ititinda.
We can uplift the lives of our farmers, a small reward for the trade that provides food for all of us.
Ito talaga yung main source nilang farmers na farming, because kami po, we take our farming as a business.
If the farmers can interact with their consumers, they will receive more profit, a premium long deserved. It also gives us the confidence to eat their produce, knowing they are healthy and safe. This is vital, not only for the end consumer, but also for the business, because we are ensuring the highest quality standards, together with safety. Farmers guarantee the crop's quality before it is transferred, the processing plant for inspection, cleaning, cutting, and packing. Preserving the food's freshness from harvest to delivery at every turn. Promising good food and good health. Put together, this is social responsibility. It's not only for the business, but it's also for the people.
And last but not the least, I'll be sharing is what we call instant commerce. So in the future, while you're doing your Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, YouTube, or even TikTok, and you saw a product, you just click add to cart, buy now, and it's instantly fulfilled, instantly delivered into your doorstep in just an hour. So those are the future trends of e-commerce dito sa Pilipinas. And truly, there's a silver lining in our industry pagdating even in this time of crisis, because e-commerce has really grown tremendously. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share regarding e-commerce in the new normal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve, for that very insightful presentation about consumer behavior and also about the trends in e-commerce. Very exciting news for all of us. And later on, we will be having an open forum for some questions. Ayan, may comment na si Carlo. Wow, galing. Thank you. Please keep those comments coming at our chat box. And now we move on to our second speaker. Our next speaker will present the perspective from the logistics services sector. He previously worked as an associate for All Asia Capital and Trust, CFO for Digital Paradise Incorporated, and a consultant for the Asian Development Bank prior to heading SM's Business Center operations. He's currently head of retail for the To Go Group, handling their direct-to-customer services as well as their retail outlets. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our resource speaker, Editor Dennis Yaw.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you for the invite to be here today and to share what our company has experienced during this lockdown. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, to start off, give me an opportunity to at least introduce our company. Our company is one of the largest integrated transport and logistics company in the Philippines, and we are owned both by SM Investments Corporation, which is one of the leading companies in the Philippines. They have interests and operations in retail, in banking and property, and we are also partly owned by Udena Corporation. Now, next slide. As a integrated logistics and transport provider in the Philippines, our company is actually organized into different business units that will cater to the requirements of the customers that we serve. We've got business segments in shipping. We are one of the largest shipping fleet in the Philippines. And these, take note, are actually RoPax passengers that have priority berthing in the ports. We also have cold chain to service the reefer requirements and the cold chain requirements. And then we are also one of the largest multimodal transport providers. So we can do both air, land, and sea. We have a last mile B2B and B2C solution, and we have a store network spanning more than 3,000 outlets. So all of these business units, next slide. All of these business units are basically structured to provide the requirements of our customers, both in terms of inventory management solutions and enabling the technologies to solve their problems, whether it's in transportation, in warehouse, and other integrated problems. So for next slide, so that's a quick background of what our company is. Now, looking into what happened during this lockdown, when the lockdown happened in March, well, basically the first thing that everybody experienced was a drop in demand and a drop in volume. Everybody stopped moving. Most of the businesses, whether they're importing from abroad, there was a drop in the demand and drop in the volumes that we've seen. Whether it's items moving inside the country, there was a lockdown in a lot of the ports and in a lot of the road networks. So the added restrictions in moving from different place to place, I'm sure everybody is aware of all of those restrictions that we've had to deal with during March and in April. Now they're a bit better already, but the continuous amendments in the guidelines and the restrictions really were something of a hurdle that we had to deal with. Okay, next slide. So what were the things that the company experienced? So I want to share what To Go did and what our experience was during this new normal. Of course, the first thing that the company looked into was the safety of our employees. We've instituted work from home arrangement. We've had a lot of these Zoom meetings and MS Teams meetings daily. We've never stopped working. I'm sure many of our SCMAP members are also doing the same thing. We've been able to implement and institute regular and strict worksite disinfections. We've been able to do massive rapid testing, not only for our head office people, but also for our people on our vessels, people in our retail outlets, people that actually do the last mile deliveries. So we've given them the PPEs, we've done the precautionary measures. We've had trouble actually at the beginning trying to get employees to come in. We've had to give them confidence that, even if you do come into work, we will provide all the safety nets to allow you to be safe while at work. So safety was a #1 priority. And that was a communication that we hammered into our employees to give them the confidence to come in. One of the things that we're pretty proud of are the well-being programs for employee support. Like some of our departments internally, we've had regular Zoom get-togethers or MS Teams get-togethers, even on a Friday afternoon, even just to, we rarely saw each other during the lockdown, but we'll get everybody in. So at least we have something else to talk about other than work and still get that human touch to make sure that our employees are okay. And right now, our HR is looking also into other programs that deal with employees' well-being, like loneliness, maybe virtual recognition programs. Those are some of the things that we're looking into. Next slide, please. Now, this is a slide from McKinsey that we'd like to share. In spite of the crisis, we've also seen several industries that are actually giving us opportunities for growth. This might be not specific to the Philippines, but we've seen a parallel in the Philippine setting. Of course, on the rightmost side of the slide, you see technology as one of the growth areas. We have seen almost like a 400% increase in adoption rate in terms of MS Teams in our company. And the running joke is the fastest way to actually implement digitalization and to implement technology is through COVID-19. So technology is one of the fast areas for implementation. We've also been looking into how we can improve. We've continuously been talking to suppliers to further improve our technology base and the technologies that we use, not only in the office, but also in our different facilities. In terms of the other industries, these specific industries, consumer, pharma, retail, definitely are industries that we see parallels to, that provide opportunities for us to grow here. We've seen the requirements. We've seen many of them reach out to us to look for solutions. We've been coming up with solutions for them. So we believe that this particular slide gave us an idea of, okay, this is not only true in the US, this is not only true abroad, but this is also happening here in the Philippines. Next slide. I think there was a slide that was missing, but okay. Other things that we've seen in terms of innovation that the company has undertaken. For example, we've been able to come up with new products and new ways to solve the problems of our customers. One of the challenges in terms of e-commerce that has risen up, we've seen e-commerce rise up in the Philippines. Many of the different players have never been into e-commerce before. I agree with what Steve has mentioned earlier, that there already was an increasing pace of e-commerce. But suddenly with this lockdown, a lot more players have been thrust into this platform. Traditionally, what has happened was the players are either very, very small or the players were actually very, very big. Everybody in the middle, there was a large segment that were not really prepared or had plans to go into e-commerce, but were not really going into it in a fast or very organized way. And suddenly with COVID-19, everybody agreed that yes, we need to go into e-commerce. That presented a lot of challenges for the company, for us, and I guess for different players as well. Number one, many of their websites were not ready, but they wanted to go into it already. Many of the companies that we spoke with wanted fulfillment from their stores. If they wanted fulfillment from their stores, their store clerks that were already there were not ready or were not familiar on how to deal with logistics or 3PL providers. The systems, for the very large ones, we had integrated API systems for them. We talk their language and they talk our language as well. For the very small ones, it's the same thing. For the others that are in the middle, they weren't quite sure. They had a central distribution center where we picked up their goods and we distributed it nationwide, but they also wanted in-store fulfillment. So when we were picking up from their outlets, the order taking system was not as smooth. There was learning and teaching both ways. We had to teach them as well as us learning the language of their particular business. So there were those things. Other challenges that we started seeing was that when people started putting up websites, they were used to dealing with a local motorcycle courier delivering 10 to 15 kilometers from store fulfillment. Suddenly, when you put up a website, you're going to get orders. If your store is located in Metro Manila, you're going to get orders from Visayas, from Cebu, from Davao. And these outlets or stores wanted to be able to service those requirements as well. So you needed somebody, or they needed a 3PL that was going to be able to service the requirements, not only within a particular radius of their outlet, but needed to be able to deliver the item to another part of the country. Worse, consistent with what Steve has mentioned, COD is 80% of the industry right now. So if you deliver to Cebu, you have to be able to get a way to get that money that you collected from Cebu back to Metro Manila and then remit it to the customer to begin with. So those were some of the challenges that we saw. And in response to some of those challenges, we've continued to reorganize the company to be able to offer this particular service. In terms of our vessel operations, we've experienced difficulties in getting the schedules of airlines. And many of our customers are also very cost conscious. So with travel restrictions happening all over the place, we've decided to convert some of our travel passenger cabins into loading cabins. We've been able to transport many of our e-commerce customers' items loaded into our vessels so that they will continue to be shipped to Visayas and Mindanao. So those are some of the things that we have seen and that we have learned and that we continue to do in terms of addressing what we've seen during this lockdown. So basically, those are some of the things that we've wanted to share. And if there are any other questions regarding what we've experienced, and maybe we could answer some of them during the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for your presentation and for us to be informed about the ways to go is coping up with the demand for your services during this time of pandemic. And so with that, we are now opening the floor for some questions. I think we have some in the chat box. See? Okay, actually the first question is for both of our speakers. There has been a growing concern about the infrastructure of the slow internet access, or about the e-banking, e-payment. Filipinos are not yet ready for paying using credit cards. There's a low usage of credit cards. How do you address this, or how can we improve on this?
Maybe I could share something. No? So
okay.
I think for the Philippine market, I think we will be jumping from the credit card to a digital wallet society. So there will be more people that will be using Gcash, GrabPay than people that have credit cards. And I think that is one solution for us to have a cashless payment, cashless transaction society. Gumagastos naman si Gcash kasi Paymaya ng a lot of subsidize a lot for people to get to their platform right now. And I think GCash has already grown 200%, 400%.
Okay. Dennis, any thoughts?
Yeah. Well, number one, we are still a very cash-heavy society. I mean, a few years back, I was talking to the head of a alternative digital payment channel, and he said that he tried to actually survive 1 month without actually using cash. It did not last 1 week. I mean, in a week, he actually gave up. He gave up. His office was in Makati. He gave up within the weeks. I mean, he tried it out. Uh, at the time, I believe because, when you go out of the house, jeepneys and taxis and the tricycles, you actually need cash. So without any other form of digital payment. We were all looking for the killer app or the killer situation or context where digital payments can actually happen. This is one of those moments. I think it will accelerate the acceptance of financial payments. COD will still remain to be a major player, but we see more and more people adopting and getting more comfortable with those online payments, with those fintech. Internet, I think, is probably one of the more critical infrastructure that needs to happen. Even in terms of our riders and delivery people, the requirements of the business of actually delivering proofs of deliveries. We have to start moving away from paper PODs. We have to start moving away from paper PODs. And the only way we can actually move away from paper PODs if we do electronic PODs. And the only way we can do electronic PODs is to get our riders and our drivers comfortable using smartphones and apps. In Metro Manila, that's probably not as difficult a concern. But the minute you go out into areas where there are difficulties in terms of signals, you're going to get delivery people who will not use it as well, who will try to do workarounds, who will say, okay, I'll just do batch upload when I get to a Wi-Fi signal or to a hotspot. And that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to put in technology and efficiency into your system. So between the two, I think the more critical one is probably internet infrastructure for us.
Yes. So thank you very much for the response. So we have a question here. Okay, let's read it. Okay. So a question coming from Carlo Curay. What is the best way to educate customers to use digital payments instead of COD? Is there a best practice from other countries like China that is majority digital payments?
Digital payments to educate, to incentivize people to use digital payments. I think the government and the banking industry has been incentivizing customers to migrate out of cash for like the longest time. What's the best way to educate customers? I think the day we see taxis and jeepneys accepting digital payments is the day we will, I think that's the only way, that's the only time that we will get everybody onto digital payments.
Okay. Any thoughts, Sir Steve?
So I was talking to my daughter last year. She said, Gcash had a campaign in 3 Starbucks for everyone who downloaded Gcash. So I think the whole university downloaded Gcash. And more students are adapting to the new digital platforms. So I think it's just a matter of time for us to really educate. I think the digital players here in our country are really subsidizing or incentivizing generations for them quickly adapt and teach the older ones. So even yung mga ngayong panahon, di ba? Because of COVID, most of the Gen X have adopted to using downloading GCash because yung mga millennials and Gen Zs naman, they always right now it's a challenge for us talaga to really adapt to that. And I totally agree with Dennis na we just add additional internet speed sa Pilipinas. I think there's going to be a great wave of usage with our digital economy.
Okay. So here's another question. Digital payments can be done, but it seems the speaker should remember that the digital understanding of the Filipino people is low. There are only a certain percentage or a certain generation that can do that. As per our observation, huge percentages in the provinces still market and supermarkets are still open. How do you think education can piece through all generations and all places like islands and provinces? Okay. So it seems that in the provinces, they are not yet keen on using digital payments.
I think I think data shows we are a Facebook company. So Filipinos are really digital savvy in a way. Just more of adaptation on using it. But if you will ask even sa provinces, lahat may Facebook. So I think it's just a matter of time for people to really adapt. Filipinos to really adapt to digital ways. And I would say Philippines is medyo angat pa nga siya pagdating sa mga problema na sa Facebook kasi free data, no? That's why free data, that's why every Filipino can have one. But if you're gonna have someone sponsored free data sa mga Lazada, Shopee na yan, mas mabilis pa.
Okay.
Sa provinces, I agree with Steve. No, the Filipino is very quick to adapt to new technology. The fact that we've adapted to Facebook very fast is amazing, and we've taken to it. I think I still go back to the original concept that if you improve the internet infrastructure, if you improve it, people will find a way to use it. And I probably would liken the adoption of digital payments and the adoption of these new things. Hindi siya age dependent. I could probably draw an analogy. It's not a perfect analogy. Maybe to payroll via ATM. I mean, way before, I guess, when I started working, payroll wasn't really ATM yet. Diba? And it just took the companies and said, no, we will do payroll via ATM. You have to get used to withdrawing your money at the ATM in the corner. If there is a need, the people will adapt to it. Young and old alike took to it and adapted to it. So I think when the opportunity is there, given the chance to use it, and people will take to it. People will adapt to it. Young and old alike.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question. What is the trending and likelihood of success of brick and mortar stores going e-com? So brick and mortar stores going e-com.
Well, yun ang negosyo ko for all those who like mortar stores. You can contact us for you to accelerate your growth in the e-commerce channel. There's a great deals para more likely to succeed.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
On our part, I think both brick and mortar will continue to be here. I have to be loyal to our parent company. People, Filipinos still love to shop, even if it's just to hang around in the mall, even if it's just to go around and take a look at what's happening. Browsing through items on a screen versus browsing and walking in a mall. Walking through a mall is more of a social activity. You will have your family with you. It's more of a social event for us. I think the malls will continue to be here, but I think e-commerce has been given a chance to really grow during this lockdown, and everybody in the industry has realized that as well. So I think both will coexist, and both will grow well into the future. We really love to shop, and we really love to make pasyal.
So there's a follow-up question. What if these companies do it themselves? These brick and mortar companies do it themselves. What do they have to think about? What they have to consider prior to doing e-commerce?
What do they have to consider before going into e-commerce?
E-commerce. These brick and mortar stores.
Well, in terms of on the logistics side, I think there's preparation needed to go before going e-commerce. Some of the companies and some of the customers that we've dealt with, they are used to, this is my market. Okay? And if this is my market, the merchandise mix that I have in this location is only this, because it's catered to this particular locality. These are the likes and dislikes of this market in this particular locality. Once you go on e-commerce, you are now catering to a wider customer base. More people can see you. The demographic that are looking at your merchandise is not necessarily the same demographic that's now looking at your website. There's learning that needs to be done on their part. They will have to understand customer service. Like what Steve mentioned in his presentation, the chatbots, the customer service that comes along with going into an e-commerce business, and fulfillment. We've had customers as far as Taytay asking to deliver items in Tondo or in Pasay, where when they have outlets that are nearer there that could have fulfilled those orders. So there's partly that also. Instead of paying me the logistics cost of transporting it all the way there, you could have been more efficient, relaying the order to a nearer store and then asking us to deliver there. It would have been faster. It would have been cheaper. The customer would have been more happier. So, I mean, there are small little things that both parties will have to learn, especially for brick and mortar stores. I don't know what Steve experience on this side has been.
I think in terms of the follow-up question regarding if they want to do it their own, we are living in a Google it mo na lang, di ba? Type of. There's a lot of what the important thing is to learn. I think that's what Dennis was saying, and I agree with you. And there's a lot of content materials for us to understand, learn how to do e-commerce already. Importante lang sa tamang, source that you get it, so that you won't go around the bush. No? But definitely, this is a talent-intensive industry. We have to face it. There's no e-commerce course pa nga sa Pilipinas.
Yes.
So that's why it's going to be very hard to learn it on their own. That's why you need people like Dennis, logistic companies, commerce solution providers, so that you can learn the best practices and you can stick on your core competence, which is your brand, your brand na you're developing, your supply chain, all of these things can be passed on to experts in the field. So, as we have said, in these times, we are living in a shared economy, shared resources already. malalaking kumpanya, the Ubers, the Airbnbs, they don't even own a single cars or a single home, but their companies are large because they're doing the shared economy process already. I believe you need to collaborate for you to. Alam mo, sa totoo lang, when I was talking to most of the companies in the last 3 months, it's not about adaptability na nga eh. It's about survival eh. They are forced to do e-commerce just to survive, no?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset eh, no? Kaya I think importante rin talaga that the omni-channel will be there definitely. But without e-commerce right now, and you need to learn it fast or you'll get behind. So I think
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Wait. Here's another question. Wait, let me check my chat. Okay. So for Dennis, how do you remain competitive given the proliferation of TNVS like Grab and Angkas?
Ang hirap na tanong yun.
How do you remain competitive?
Bibilhin mo sila.
Ha?
Isagot ako dyan, bibilhin mo sila.
Ha?
Bibilhin mo sila.
Bibilhin mo sila.
Survival tayo, survival. And then, Grab and the TNBS actually operate on a different model. So basically, it's they're relying on having the most number of riders available at any one time, whereas we are competing on a different model where our riders, our equipment, and our delivery people are our employees. So we're capitalizing on trying to be better and more efficient in terms of the route planning, planning everything, trying to be more efficient rather than approaching it from a quantity base. Truth be told, you just have to keep on innovating and trying to get slightly better and better. They found a way to become cheap. We have to find a way to get there too. So that's just about it. If they're finding a way to deliver it at a certain price point, then using our route planning capabilities and our consolidation capabilities, we have to find a way naman to compete and try to come up with a price that can compete on that basis. Thankfully, we continue to find ways now.
Okay. So next. Now for both speakers, how do you think we can bring down the actual cost of delivery? 50 to 100 peso per parcel still seems high. So are tools to fix inaccurate addresses and inefficient route optimization realistic? So what do you think are the approaches to bring that delivery cost down?
More volume.
More volume. Okay.
I think
more volume.
More volume for us, I think, allows us more flexibility in terms of handling it, and we can make the necessary investments for better technology, better transport management, better route planning, and with more people getting onto e-commerce, you're not limited to you can do pickup and delivery in every location. It will become quite dense, so it's going to be worth it later on. So more volume, more people going into e-commerce. It's going to be better for everybody.
Okay. Any thoughts, Steve?
Well, economies of scale talaga, di ba? Pero I was talking to a logistic company. Sabi niya, Steve, 20 years ago, 50 pesos na yung delivery within Metro Manila. Tumaas na daw ang gasolina at lahat, 50 pesos pa rin. Sabi, how do we, pero I think the Go is doing good naman, Dennis. But I think because we are an archipelago, that's the difference between us and our other Asian countries. Kailangan natin ng mga roro, we do a lot of, that's the concern for for our country because of we have so many islands. Yun yung challenge for our logistic.
Okay, thank you. So, Steve, can you tell us more about Zagana and what were the challenges at first and any other opportunities that we in supply chain can tap into?
So
Zagana.
Zagana is basically we buy from the Zagana company buys from the farmers cooperative. Not exactly directly to the farmers kasi parang nahirapan talaga sila to buy directly from the farmers. So cooperative sila para there's volume and there's more consistency of produce. And then we transfer it to Metro Manila to our fulfillment centers. And then once people order online, they can be delivered in 30 minutes. So we do have farmer cooperatives in Benguet, Mountain Province, and for the highland crops and for the para sa chapsuy at para sa pinakbet. Parang iba yung nila yan.
Okay, thank you very much. So here's another question. What are your thoughts in improving the return to sender challenges for B2C last mile logistics, especially for remote areas? Improving the return to sender challenges for B2C last mile logistics. How can we improve on it? Any thoughts?
Pain point pa rin yan sa amin. Hindi ko alam. So Dennis.
Return to sender challenges.
On our end, on our end, we have already started. We've already started seeking our SM brothers and sisters as possible drop-off partners for us. So whenever and wherever you see a Save More or a hypermarket location, they are now automatically to go agents as well. So they eventually will become part of the system, and we would be able to accept return to sender transactions from them as well. So hopefully that addresses especially those in the far-flung areas. Dahil nauna na si Kuya Save More doon.
Okay. So here's another question again on Zagana's role. Any suggestion on farmers and food producers stopping into e-com and social media trends?
Yeah. So I think we started Zagana last September. One thing that we have is yung handling of fresh food. So the best way talaga is buying it from farm level so that we'll be able to maintain the freshness. That's why we took on that challenge. Sabi ko kasi, nobody's really doing fresh online, and there's a market, definitely a market online for fresh because even meat and seafood. But then the number one concern talaga is handling. So basically, you can contact Zagana, inquire to them to be a supplier, you're a farmer, cooperative, and they'll work with you on how they can buy it from the farmer. Kasi ang farmers naman walang tech, don't really know how to use it. So basically, we're going to levels na you have to pay in cash, get their stocks, they get their produce, and then we clean it in the areas that the farm fresh products.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. So follow-up question on the return to sender challenge. How much or what percent of the RTS is due to inaccurate addresses for e-commerce? If that percentage is high, why not fix the addresses before dispatch? Is there a way to correct or improve on that?
The
Wrong
proportion
address.
of RTS based on wrong addresses is not actually that high.
Okay.
It's not that high.
Mhm.
It's for usually RTS for different reasons. Usually it's more customer based. Customers not being available, not being there despite 2 or 3 tries or 2 or 3 attempts. Usually the customer change their mind last minute, but the order has already been dispatched. But wrong addresses is not normally that high.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, any more questions? Probably we can open the floor for live questions. Carlo, I think, has a question. Carlo? Dennis, can you allow Carlo to ask his question?
Yeah, it was I was typing the question, but it was live pala. Going to the return, is there, how much is the percentage of returns and rejections of customers? Is that a pain point? Kasi kanina nakita ko si Steven nung nalaman yung returns, parang yeah, I want to know if even the returns and rejections, kasi I remember before I watched a parang documentary sa US. Malaki, mga 40% yata ang mga returns nila. Is it the same here in your experience, Dennis, Steve?
40.
So let me share to you the industry percentage of failed returns and cancellations.
Yes.
So that on a typical day, that's around 15-20%. Industry yan. But on a campaign, 11-11, 12-12, hindi ko alam, hindi na nga dinideliver yata ng about ng 30-40%. So parang kaya talaga iiling ka talaga pag alam mo yan, no? But that's one of our service level agreement to make sure yun yung pinaka-aspect natin, part ng negosyo ng e-commerce is their delivery returns. So the more important thing is to bring down the numbers, check what are the reasons so that you'll be able to go down the numbers to single digits. So for us, in our company, single digits na lang siya. But as an industry average, around 15% talaga yung return to sender. I don't know if Dennis, ganun din ba yung data mo?
Almost.
Almost a 40? Thanks. That's a great share.
Thank you, Carlo. So I think we're down to our last 2 questions. Any other live questions from our, here's another question. Do you also blacklist customers who frequently cancel orders intentionally or not? Blacklisting of customers?
Yes, we do, because there's a lot of fraud happening in the e-commerce. There's a lot of fraud. So we need to always check for fraud. Alam mo mga Pilipino, di ba, mahilig gumawa ng diskarte. No? So we do have measures to take away fraud as much as possible. Even for deliveries na biglang pag dumadating na customer missing item, no? It's not really missing item all of it. So you have
Okay. So, okay. Now we come down to our last 2 questions. So as a parting message for our listeners this afternoon, so any advice for those companies looking to jump into logistics for e-commerce? May we hear from both of you? Any advice for those companies looking to jump into logistics for e-commerce?
So the question is they
Any
wanted
advice?
to
Join the
join the fray and go into logistics. Medyo mahirap yata yan, dadagdag pa sa kalaban. No, but it's tough. It's going to be tough. If you're going to start out, you're going to be looking at a particular small niche. And as we've mentioned, we wanted to focus on in the more the experience has been the customers that we're dealing with are looking more and more not only for NCR deliveries but also for Vismin and Luzon. So you're gonna be able to have to deliver nationwide. 80% of the companies, 80% of the transactions are COD transactions. So you're gonna be able to have to take care to collect that money and make sure that it's going to be able to get back to you. Building that infrastructure, you have to be able to send your stuff via air. Good luck right now because of the prices and the schedules. So it's gonna be tough. But if you're asking for advice to brick and mortar companies going into e-commerce, I think it almost all brick and mortar companies want to go into e-commerce now. I think they're realizing that. I think that's a realization, and everybody's looking for a way to do it. And I think they all should do it. It basically just expands your market with very little added capital investment. You're going to be able to reach out to more customers. Plus, of course, it brings more business to logistics in our industry. So all around win-win for all of us, right?
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. So Steve, any thoughts?
They don't need convincing anymore. By this,
okay.
Online or die. So definitely, we welcome to grow the digital space. Alam mo, maganda ngayong COVID is rates. Are already investing in the digital funds. And I think this will better for all of the systems that are going to go digital right now. And in terms of logistics, definitely it's a very it's a very hard business. But if there's an opportunity, I think because may tanong dito, is there an excess? Is there demand for logistics? I think there's a lot of growth for logistics player. That's why I'm open up the logistics, because I think one thing is, even for us, we're really looking for a logistics company that can really cater to the actual needs of mga merchants, especially in e-commerce space. And so most of the small companies become medium size, because of the e-commerce space. So,
okay. So thank you very much to our two speakers, Steve and Dennis, for joining us this afternoon. So it has been a very interesting and insightful afternoon learning about e-commerce and its impact during this time of COVID-19. And we would like to thank again our speakers, Steve C. and Sir Dennis Yaw, for lending us their time and expertise. And we would like to thank you, our viewers, for watching and for trusting us with your time. So, ano daw muna, let's have a quick screen grab to show all the participants attending this afternoon's webinar. Okay? So, Nico, are you there? Can you do this? And let me know. Oh, okay. Okay, so for our participants on Zoom, an online feedback form will be open on your browser once you leave the webinar. And we would like to appreciate your thoughts so we can mount better events for you. So finally, you can keep up to date with what we're doing here at SCMAP by visiting our website, scmap.org, and by following us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So on behalf of everyone here at SCMAP, I am Ana Rosa Ochoa. Thank you once again for joining us this afternoon, and we hope to see you at the next SCMAP Live. Mark the date, August 20th. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dennis. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you all.
Thank you.